we're back at it.
Yeah, baby.
Back again, episode 5.
Here we go.
That's right. Here we go. Vin and Phil show. And I guess today we're going to continue discussing lyrics and the people that wrote them. And I got to say, honestly, I've been really enjoying this. It's kind of, when we first started this, I wanted to break down everything, and so I really enjoy doing this, and it's been fun. We've just been totally random about it. Vin and I have just been picking whatever song again that comes to mind and then checking it out and breaking it down. I guess before we get too deep into it, we might as well do our regular couple of bullet points. First and foremost, we have a playlist that you can follow along with. It is on Spotify. It's called the Vin and Phil Show, just Vin and Phil Show. No, it's Vin and Phil Show.
Although I think it does come up if you put.
I'm sure it does, but we got to be correct here. And you, like I was saying, you can check out the playlist. It should be up to date with all of the music that we have talked about in all of the other episodes, and it will include the music that we talk about today. You should stop the video at any point and check out the music and the songs that we are speaking about. It's probably the best way to get the most out of what we're doing.
Definitely.
And after that, the next bullet point I would say is that Vin and I are both working musicians, but due to COVID-19, we are not so working musicians at the moment. And we certainly could use all the support we could get. And if you're feeling generous and want to share the kindness with us, we both have Venmo accounts that you can feel free to send a little something over to, but no pressure. Just if you're feeling like you got something extra, you can send over. Vin's is at Vincent-Mott, M-O-T-T, that's 2 T's. And mine is at Phil-Silverberg, that's silver like the metal, B-E-R-G. Like I said, no pressure there, just if you can. And our final points to note are Vin has a new EP that came out last week.
Yes, 1 week old. Oh yeah, happy birthday!
Oh, you know what?
CD.
Let's do a little. We can crack one open.
I cracked mine.
That's all right.
I got a little thirsty.
Hey, that's all right, man. And l'chaim, as we
Cheers.
like to say.
Salud, gentan, as we say.
Hey. We got my DJ Fun Size koozie. I don't know if it's backwards.
Of course, despite James Stavali's constant pleas to stop this, I am rocking my own beer koozie.
Nah, man, you can plug yourself away. Especially we were just talking about your project, man.
Country Blues in Quarantine. It's been doing great. It's 7 brand new original tracks, blues tracks. And not only did I write all the music myself, but I recorded it and mixed and mastered it for the first time ever by myself. And you can check it out everywhere you can find music online. And if you really like what you listen to, buy it and help me out. All the music all the money, if you buy it, goes directly to me. So
awesome. And I guess I'm going to tag on to that. I have a new track coming out on the 24th, which is this Friday.
Yeah.
It's under my artist name named Lo-Fi, spelled L-O-P-H-I. The song is called Oolong, which is a type of tea, for those of you that are wondering.
I didn't know. I didn't know. I'm not a tea guy.
Yeah, no. Basically, because the first song was Warm Coffee, right? And then this one is Oolong. Yeah. You see
where you're going.
All right, so that's our quick little plugs. And if you get a chance, check us out. Support us any way you can. That works as a support. If you can't give us Venmo, then by all means, buy some music. That's even better. Yeah. I prefer that, to be honest.
Me too.
That being all said, let's dive back in. We didn't talk about who wants to go first today. I mean, last week you took it away. I really, makes no difference to me, man. What you feeling?
I mean, I got plenty to talk about, so I could go after. If you got something quick, I could go last.
I don't know how
Or-
quick it's gonna be.
Yeah.
You know, the song I got by itself is not the fastest, longest, or shortest song.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, my stuff could really go either way. I could make it real short. But I'll just go.
Go ahead, hit him with a little pow pow, man. Go ahead.
So I picked an artist today that I think a lot of people who know me know that I really love this guy. I'm getting a little echo here. I don't know what to do. But it's an artist that people who really know me know that I really like this guy. And I'd like to just start with like a little story.
Okay.
So the way I got into this artist, well, I'll just tell you. The artist is Danzig. And
Jersey.
Glenn Danzig, Jersey's own, from the original Misfits, Glenn Danzig. And I got into him, I would say, in college. And prior to that, like, I knew some of the Misfit stuff, just whatever I knew from being a kid in Jersey, listening to punk rock and riding a BMX bike. And in college, I met this kid. Shout out to my buddy Christian from Vermont. He's from Vermont, but I met him in Boston. He was going to we went to Berkeley together, essentially.
Sure.
And we hung together, and he was like another rock and roll kid that like was like a part of our crew at one point. And like we just used to get drunk and listen to music really loud and arm wrestle and do stupid shit. And he was like a diehard Glenn Danzig fan, period, you know? And he had like a whole style to his singing, is kind of like in that sort of style, but he's a punk rock kid.
Sure.
You know? And he like kind of like, I knew the Misfits, like I said, I knew they were from Jersey, but for whatever reason, I had never checked out their music until I met this kid. And he was like, dude, you like blues, man? And you don't know who Glenn Danzig is? He's like, not that Glenn Danzig has anything to do with blues, but this album that I'm going to talk about today is heavily blues influenced. And he was like, yeah, man, if you like blues, you'll like this shit. And, you know, he kind of introduced me to Glenn Danzig and the whole Danzig thing. And I really, really dove deep into Danzig prior to meeting this kid. And so I'm talking about Danzig today. And I'm, of course, talking about his first solo record. It's a band under his pseudonym or whatever,
right.
Danzig. And I'm talking about Danzig, otherwise known as Danzig 1. Where are my notes? And I got a couple of songs that I just like to highlight because one of them's my absolute favorite Danzig song, and the other ones are just really fucking cool in the way he fucking writes. So let me start from the top. I got my notes up now. He's from Lodi, New Jersey, and he's known like I said, he was in the Misfits first, and then he had a band called that I believe is just known as Sam Hain. But I'm going to talk about that in a little bit too, because it comes up in one of the tunes. Misfits, Sam Hain, and then of course Danzig. He's known for having like a real crooner style baritone to his voice. For those of you who don't know, it's reminiscent of like Frank Sinatra or like Elvis Presley or even like Jim Morrison. But think about like the Misfits were like a seminal 70s nasty punk band, you know?
Yep.
And his music tends to be more on like the hard rock and metal side. And I'm going to talk about that too a little bit. And it, of course, his lyric style is always dark and like quote unquote satanic. I'm going to talk about that too. This is just the intro. I'm hesitant to call it satanic though, because like it's those elements of it are not like the shining star of his lyrics, you know.
Sure.
There's always like the underlying story underneath that, like vocabulary that he uses is really like the message, but the way he like tells it with this dark gothic eye is amazing, really. And to be honest, if you're gonna check out Country Blues in Quarantine, my new EP, like a lot of that, not that it sounds like Danzig, but like a lot of it was I had him in mind, you know. Some of the songs are like could be sung by him, you know.
Interesting.
That's like how big of an influence Glenn Danzig is on me now as a blues artist today, as where I am. You know, so some people might not know that about me.
Yeah, no, that's I did, but
Yeah.
but
The moral of the story
it's
with
interesting
like
for
how
sure.
like I hate to call it satanic because he's not a Satanist,
I'm with you.
and like he doesn't try to like preach anything on anybody, you know.
No, it's just dark shit.
Yeah, it's just dark shit, pretty much. It's why Danzig is often like the butt of jokes, and my own. I'm no exception. How
Right.
many times have any of us made a Danzig joke? You know, he is like over the top and hilarious.
Yeah, well,
in one eye.
it's the combination of the lyrical content with what you're saying. His vocalization is like the contrast of those two things on top of what's happening of this like
Right.
punk rock / metalish band is, you know, the sum of all those parts make this almost comical thing that was definitely not meant as a joke, but it you know, it's I mean the stuff's great.
He's over the top all the time and like 100%. His authenticity. He's so authentic that it's like unbelievable almost. I think that's like where the humor comes. You know, where the humor comes from. It's like man, this dude really lives like the black like the black gothic dude. You know, that kind of thing. Like dark soul kind of thing. Anyway, so Danzig 1, as it's known, released in 1988 on Def America Records, which was another thing of Def Jam Records. I think that's the same one that the Red Devils are on. If you don't know the Red Devils, they're cool as fuck. One of my favorite bands currently. But both that the Red Devils and Danzig, obviously Def Jam Records, Def America. It's produced by Rick Rubin.
Really? Oh yeah, I remember you showed me the Red. I know this Red Devils record you're talking about.
Yeah. This record, Danzig 1, was Rick Rubin as well.
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised, but I did not know that.
The story goes that like at the last Sam Hain gig in New York City, Rick Rubin was there and wanted to sign just Glenn Danzig as like the singer in this like super group he was coming up with, you know, Rick Rubin, I'm saying, for a record.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And Danzig was like, no fucking way. Like, I'll come, but I'm coming with my bass. I think it was just him and the guy Erie Vaughn, whatever, the fucking bass player. He's like, I'm coming with my own shit. And then I guess somehow he agreed. That's the story that I read today.
Wow.
About how Rick Rubin came into the mix.
Interesting.
But so eventually, you know, it did really well right out of the gate, but it eventually down the road it went platinum. You know, it was gold by like 94 or something, then went platinum after that. So this is a huge record. A lot of people know it. I know that for damn sure. I have a lot of friends since Christian who were just like, it's always that like common thread you'll find with like those real cool friends, like say like me and Trevor, you know?
Yeah.
They're like, man, you like Danzig? Man, me too. And like we used to listen to Danzig a lot when we drive around together. The sound of this record is like classified as heavy metal, but it's heavy metal meets blues is what everyone kind of generally says.
Yeah.
To me, it's just really badass rock and roll music with heavy heavy guitars, like heavier sounding guitars,
Sure.
right?
I agree.
Every tune has this like dark groove, this like, and it's always like sexy, a weird tidbit, two weird tidbits about this album is there's a background vocal cameo by James Hetfield from Metallica, which is strange. I think there's two songs that he sings backgrounds on, and he couldn't be credited,
right,
because of like a legal
label
issue.
Yeah. But I'm sure that's something with Rick Rubin also. I'm sure he was producing a Metallica record or something.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Right. Exactly. But he's on it for like, there's two spots in the record. I forget which two. I think one's Possession and the other one, I forget, maybe Twist the Cane or something. And then the other funny thing about this record is there's a tune called The Hunter, which I didn't know until I researched today that it's a cover song, first of all. So this album has one cover song, and it's a cover of an Albert King record. Albert King recorded it. It was written by Booker T.
Sure.
Called The Hunter. And I listened to it just before we came on, and it's crazy. Maybe we could put that up with Danzig's Hunter right after it on the playlist.
Sure. I was just chuckling because maybe we'll put up the Vin Mott song, The Hunter, after
the werewolf.
Wasn't on the last album, wasn't
Rogue Hunter?
Rogue Hunter, yes.
Rogue Hunter.
It's just not just
yeah. Hell yeah.
My bad. Yeah,
hell yeah.
We'll
Rogue
put that
Hunter.
on there too. Yeah, it fits right in there. That makes sense. Why not?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Sorry,
so
go ahead.
That brings me finally, I know this was a long-winded intro, but that brings me to She Rides. And again, I'm really not going to go super in depth, but I will read the lyrics when I'm done telling you about the tune. So the tune starts with this like hard driving 6/8 blues beat. Do 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 dot do 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 dot do 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 dot, right? And then the guitar comes in with that my smoky minor scale riff. Yeah, I think I could do it. That thing, you know?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And I'm calling it like a minor scale thing because of that
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. I would agree.
Anyway, that right there, like this song, by the way, She Rides, is my favorite Danzig song because it's the bluesiest of them all, obviously. But it's dope. The groove on it is super smoky and sexy, and I get that about his like his whole thing with like being like Jim Morrison, fucking the sex god, you know. He fucking does it pretty fucking well. The whole tune has like blues type changes, you know, 1 to the 4, you know, and where the 5, you know, it's not a 12-bar blues, it's more like an 8-bar blues almost.
Sure.
Maybe, or like double that, 16-bar blues, but in an 8-bar form.
I got you.
It's a dope tune. The guitarist was in this band. His name is John Christ. Probably a stage name. I don't know. But everyone in Danzig circles including Danzig himself, has like a stage name. But he described it in an interview as their first sex song. And the song is basically about banging a demon, and what that might be like is like what on the outside it is. Interesting things about the lyrics of this tune is Danzig refers to a piece of mythology. I think it's like Hebrew mythology of a character named Lilith.
Hmm.
I don't know much about religion and mythology and shit like that, but I've read a little bit about what Lilith is. I couldn't nail down a definitive story, but I also only looked for like fucking 5 minutes. And essentially, Lilith is this demon character or like a succubus character
Okay.
who was Adam from Adam and Eve.
Mm-hmm.
It was Adam's first wife after Eve or some shit like that. Or first definitive wife, maybe. I don't fucking know. Like first married wife. And they were born of the same clay, where like it said Eve was born of like a piece of Adam.
Mm-hmm.
Like Adam and Lilith were born from this same clay that was used to make man. And like I said, it comes from this Jewish Hebrew folklore, but it has origins in like Mesopotamian lore, which is fucking the only person who could be weird enough and fucking as well read as someone like Glenn Danzig to know this shit and know this fucking story.
Yeah, right.
But like he uses it. There's like the song's not about Lilith, but like some you could say she's the girl who, she is Lilith. There's parts of like the phrase "she is the night" is like a line out of this like Greek poem about Lilith or some shit. Like, and he uses it, or I don't know. I didn't get too deep. I just glanced at it.
Sure. Sounds like you're pretty deep.
Yeah. So the tune is great. The other thing that has nothing to do with the actual tune itself is that this not only is it my favorite Danzig tune, but it's also got my favorite Danzig music video, which is absolutely hilarious. I think it's one of his homemade ones. I mean, he's serious in it, and it's a good video and pretty cool for being homemade. But like, it's got this one part that even my buddy Christian was like, dude, this part's the fucking most hilarious part, where like it's a close up of his. I'm not on my camera. There we go. It's a close up of like the tattoo on his arm, like this, and then like the girl's hand goes on it, and he like flexes.
I guess I've never seen it. I'll have to check it out after this.
Dude, it's hilarious. He's like, it's just his arm. Like this. Can you hear me? It's just his arm like this. And the girl's hand goes like this, and then you just see his arm like it's hilarious.
I'm sorry for all the listeners who aren't getting to see this beautiful view of Vin. And I'm sorry for all the viewers who are getting this view of Vin. Show them what you got, Vin.
So she rides. I'm just gonna read like all the verses, and there's a sweet bridge in this tune too. I forgot to mention where musically, it's really cool because the whole thing is in this E blues thing, and then the bridge goes to the 4 chord like most bridges do, but then it's got that descending thing. So like A, and then over A flat over G, and then D. So it's almost like an A for the bridge.
Sure.
And it comes out of like this really heavy blues thing. It comes out of like right. It's like real like melancholy sounding or some shit.
Yeah.
It's a cool part of the tune. All right, she rides. I'm just gonna read it real quick, real quick for you. She rides, letting loose upon the world. She is the night, and my loneliness is bondage. She's black, and sin runs down her back. She rides from the daylight in chains. That's also a reference to Lilith.
Sure.
She rides the night. She rides the night. She slides down inside your skin in time. She will make you scream. She's death in a cool black dress. She rides in the night of your mind. She rides. And then the bridges. She'll take you down. She'll take you around.
Nice.
Pretty dope lyrics, I think. I don't know. I love the way he his sentences, I think, are what I really, really dig about his shit. And it's different from everything in it, and it shows how well read he is, you know?
Sure.
I think that comes from just like he's like the type of guy who's like smarter than you would ever think, you know? And then he comes out and fucking hits you with like some shit, you know?
Yeah, no, that's what I gather is that he's actually supposedly like very, very intelligent. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, no, I have to check it out.
Let me just I'll do my next one, and then really the last one I had doesn't need to be really talked about. But the next one I thought was really, really sweet. This one is same guy, same album. It's the next song after She Rides. It's called Soul on Fire. And this tune, again, to me, does not scream metal at all, you know?
Right.
Although maybe it may to you. But to me, it just feels like a Stones tune almost.
To me, there's definitely some areas of metal that are not what I would thought metal was, and so those are like, you know, there's slow, like some of the stoner metal, and you know, like they're really like slow, really straight up.
I was just
slow,
talking
hard, heavy rock blues bands. You know, like that's really, you know, we've joked about our having a side project, Beer Claw.
Yeah, man.
It would have just been that.
I'd be down. I was just having a conversation with one of my coworkers today about how, like a band like Black Sabbath,
same thing.
To me, it's like I know, I get it, and I know why they're like a metal band, but
no, it's the
to
same
me,
thing.
It's really just good rock and roll.
Yeah, no, and hard rock, like hard, heavier.
Yeah, right.
Same thing, super blues influenced. Like unquestionably.
Yeah, and there's no doubt that like that band specifically, Black Sabbath, is probably a mega influence on Glenn Danzig. Sure. I would think, unless he's
he's his own dude.
Yeah, right. Again, he is the butt of many jokes.
Well, he's definitely he's a strange character. You know what I mean?
He's a strange character for sure. Yeah. All right, so the next tune, Soul on Fire. So the one thing you gotta understand about the lyrics in this tune, if you're gonna begin to understand them, or you're gonna read them and to the fullest extent, you have to know a little bit about something called, it's the name of his previous band, Samhain, and I think it's pronounced Samhain. Like in Gaelic, whatever, Celtic or Gaelic, it's pronounced Samhain. And from here on out, just for you listeners, I'm going to now only call it Samhain. Yeah, Samhain. So the first thing you have to understand is Samhain, because this song, it's basically a song about Samhain. Samhain is a Gaelic festival that marks the end of harvest season and the beginning of winter, or AKA what they would call the dark season. It is the origin. Basically, it's the origins of Halloween. It's celebrated on between October 31st and November 1st. So it's on what we know as Halloween. It's like sunset to sundown or whatever.
Yeah.
Is Samhain. It's the halfway point between the autumn equinox and winter solstice. So it's got Celtic origins. Lots of old Irish mythology either happens or begins on Samhain. And it also marked when cattle and livestock would be brought back from the summer pastures to be slaughtered for the winter. Things they would do to celebrate, like in these celebrations, is there would be like some ceremonial bonfires, which they thought were cleansing and had protective purposes, as well as other rituals. They believed that Samhain made the boundaries of this world and the boundaries of the supernatural be easierly. What is it? Easier?
More easily crossed?
More easily crossed. That's it. That's what they believed about Samhain, you know? So obviously this is prime Danzig topic. You know, I read a whole fucking bunch in a very short time about Samhain.
He's got a checklist of like, yep, that hits that one. Yeah, we can talk about this.
yeah. So now that you know a little bit about Samhain, the song is like, basically he's like making a sexual sacrifice to Samhain. You know, he's taking a woman sexually, he's taking a woman and sexually ending her summer and entering a new, colder, darker realm of emotion and consciousness and possession.
I see.
Through his fucking, she will burn and begin anew. This is what his song. This is what like the language of his song is what I'm saying.
Sure.
You know.
Subtle messages. Subtle.
It's crazy. Now I'm going to read it.
Please do.
Wait, let me get it up just like last week.
You got to read it like
no preparation.
You got to read it like a poem like.
Wait, what was that guy's name on YouTube who used to do that?
Oh, I forget, but I remember that James and I looked at it was a cattle decap song.
Yeah, that's the one. Well, over and over and over again.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Soul on Fire. Here we go. I'm going to read it down. Soul on Fire. Angels fall to earth. World heats down. Now your heart is cold. Waiting on the summer of my soul. Devil girl, you must burn. Burn at the torch of autumn's breath. Burn that heart of cold. Simmering in the Samhain of my soul. Gotta wait on the Samhain of my soul. Gonna bring your world down in fire. Angels fall to earth. World heats down. Now your heart is cold. Waiting on the summer of my soul. Oh yeah, that repeats. All right. Come wrap my love in your house of ice. Melt you down more than once or twice.
Ooh.
Make you shake till worlds align. See your body tremble in the blood on fire, with the blood on fire. 'Cause the season in my veins will end your world. To the season of the flames you must pray and learn. Change all the things that you've ever seen. Change all vision. Kill all endings. Gotta wait on the Samhain of my soul. Gonna bring your world down in fire.
Whoa.
crazy like sentences, right? Like,
well, crazy sentences and some interesting like familial rhymes rather than like straight on perfect rhymes and stuff like that.
yeah,
Really good. And you could hear how certainly with a melody that the bending of those rhymes would work. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like it's when it's so hard to convey without a melody sometimes that you may not hear the perfect, or you may not hear the rhyme as prevalent when you just read it.
yeah,
But then put it to the right melody, and it's yeah, man. He's like I said, certainly an interesting character right there. And
yeah.
as far as the well-read, well-versed, I don't hold that as a requirement for every lyricist, although I would imagine that it's helpful. But in particular, that I think it flies under the radar that Bruce Springsteen, just piggybacking our conversation last week,
Sure.
same thing. There's references to characters throughout it all the time that people don't even blink when he mentions Mary, or and like, where are these characters coming from, and why is it Mary? And sometimes is it a biblical reference? Is it is it more than just a name that he chose?
Yeah.
And often it was. It may not always be a biblical reference even, but we know that he was Catholic also. Just an interesting thing.
Right.
There was also another thing I wanted to point out about Danzig. As you were talking, I was thinking about like the Jersey band sound, the bridge to the song, when you were playing the bridge to the last
Yeah,
one.
to She Rides. Yeah,
Yeah, that the bridge.
I think I know what you're gonna say.
There's definitely parts in like My Chem, like a My Chemical Romance type song or something like that has like that same exact thing. It's like just it's a heavy sound with that like more theatrical type vocal over it. And I to me, those guys like that whole sound. And again, and it's got this very Jersey thing because it goes back to the doo-wop and soul element.
Yeah.
And that strings across all of the people we just talked about. I mean, Bruce has got it all like that. It's just a thing about. It's an interesting. We're not trying to make this a Jersey thing, but there is a Jersey sound for people who don't know.
And that too is like, I guess he probably doesn't want it that way, but like, I'm like mad. Like, he's like, Danzig being from Jersey's is another like proud thing to be of Jersey. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So I do look at it as a Jersey. He's a total Jersey thing. You know what I mean? And the Misfits are a Jersey thing.
Sure. Oh, definitely. Yeah. No question. Well, hell yeah. Yeah. One more sip for Danzig.
Salud.
Well,
I think he's Italian too, if I read correctly.
I'll use this as a segue because I'm glad that you were drinking with me because there's a drink called loneliness, and nobody likes drinking alone. But my shitty segue is that I'm going to be talking about a song that I have very mixed feelings about, because as a piano player and piano teacher, the song that gets most requested of me to both teach and play is Piano Man. Every time somebody finds out I play the piano, the first thing out their mouth is, "Can you play Piano Man?" And there's a bunch of you out there right now shaking your heads. No, I would never do that. I promise you, it's solid 80% of the time one of the first things that people ask once they find out I play piano. And to be fair, it was one of the first things that my teacher taught me. And there's a lot of valuable reasons to learn this song. However, when I'm teaching it, I'm looking at the music side of things, which I'll do a quick breakdown of the music side of things. But the lyrics are why there's a lot to this song that I want to talk about, because I think it really, and I mentioned this to Vin separately away from the show. Where my brain went this week was, I was trying to think of songs that through gigging, Vin and I have unique experiences of playing all sorts of music live and in different settings and seeing all sorts of people react to music differently. And I was just thinking about what songs are the songs that are consistently requested or are consistently the songs that make people go crazy anywhere you play them. And so this is one of those songs to me that like you've turned this on in a bar and you can't go wrong. There isn't anybody that's saying turn that shit off, you know, except for maybe me. But like I said, it's a love-hate relationship.
It's you sitting at the bar being like, oh God, I just fucking played this last goddamn night on the gig.
So it's
fuck this song.
Yeah, well, like I said, it's a love-hate relationship. But the reality is, when I breaking it down made me really, really appreciate it. And really, if you really look at some of the early Billy Joel stuff, I don't know so much about the later stuff, but some of the earlier Billy Joel stuff, if you really look at his lyrics, he's got a really cool way of saying stuff. And I think this song is...
I've always been a Billy Joel fan, so...
Yeah, no, sure. I've never not been I'm not an anti-Billy Joel guy. Like I said, I just have a particular dislike for this, particular... Yeah. And it's not fair, but to be honest with you, I was sitting around the other night playing some poker with my buddies. It was the first time I had played poker in years, so I was losing money. But we were just, some of this stuff was playing, and we were just throwing out some of the lyrics in this song, and we were like, dude, think about what he's saying there. Like, that's so interesting. But I guess before I dive into the lyrics, I'll do a quick rundown of the music. I guess, let's see. Oh no, you know what? Before I even dive into the music, I guess a quick little background on it. It is actually based on his true story and life. There was a time period in between. He had already been signed, had a bad situation with the band. It wasn't the worst. He went through a lot of crap, but this wasn't like one of the bad ones. It was just basically like there was an issue in the mastering process, and they like screwed up the whole album. And he was really disappointed and just wanted out of the record deal, but he couldn't get out of the record deal. So instead, he just like left New York and went to L.A. He was living in L.A. He and his they might have been girlfriend at the time, but ultimately his first wife. They went out to LA and, like I said, were just kind of hiding out, but they needed to make money to survive. So he was out playing gigs as a piano man in a bar. She was a waitress at the bar. And it was, the characters are real, the bartender, and he talks about Paul and, John at the bar, they're all real people that really were there. What's interesting is the song, I guess, I don't have the exact numbers. I know it didn't reach number one. It didn't even reach top 10. I think it was like top 25 or something like that. And interestingly enough, almost all of his like first bunch of hits all did better in Canada than they did in the United States.
Really?
Which is interesting. And Piano Man was the first single that came off of that album. But it really... When the Stranger came out is when Piano Man really got more attention. So like it was well received initially. It really was. It wasn't like a poorly received, but as soon as the Stranger came out, then it became a real favorite right away.
Yeah.
So, and that's really the background on the song. I thought it gives you straight up perspective though, because I think anybody can relate to this song, but I think musicians who have gigged can certainly relate to this song.
Yeah, definitely.
And particularly, obviously being a piano player, it just feels like, holy crap. You said this, I forget when we talked about it. You're talking about how it's like a director walking you through the scenes. Yeah. And we might have been talking about Bruce, whoever, and it's the same thing in this. He's walking you around the room. It's incredible. If you really look at it, it's really, really incredible. And on top of that, like I said, now I'll dive into the music side of things, right? So let me pull over my notes here real fast. I got them on this other screen. So from a music standpoint, the song has a couple sections, and to be honest with you, that's one of the hard parts of teaching the song, is that the arrangement is kind of strange. It's like hard. Yeah, there's parts that come in here and don't come in the next time in the same place. And like, you know, it's like is this
the accordion?
Is this the harmonica break? Is the accordion part? Is the, you know, like what comes in where? You know, you know, so that to me, that's one of the hardest parts, is like I have to come up with names for the sections to teach kids. But the main section of the song really revolves around this descending C scale kind of bass line thing. And it's the bass line is the C scale, but the chords on top of it are inversions of chords that make sense, you know?
Yeah.
And there are a lot of slash chords going on there, but so you end up with this super smooth, simple bass line, and it ends with a 2/5, which is kind of cool. When I teach it, I call it there's like a long progression and a short progression. It does like the full walk down, and then it does like a half of it, and same thing. They both end with the 5, the D to the G, so that 2/5 in there, right? Yeah, it's awesome. So like I said, that's the primary part of the song. I won't necessarily break down everything else. The other thing is songs in 3/4. One of those, which is interesting. Again, I know it's like knucklehead, but it never even occurred to me. You know, it was just one of those songs that I just played, and it didn't even strike me until I started teaching you that it was 3/4. I like I said, I know that's such a knucklehead thing, but it's just like we're so familiar with the song that
it's so ingrained in your head.
It's not the part you're focusing on. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's all, and I guess it ties into what I'm about to say. Is it's so much of it being such a sing along song. Anyway, that you know, like you can feel the sway to it, and it's because it is a drinking song.
Sure.
He wrote a traditional drinking song.
What about like where waltz comes from? Germany, right?
Right. Yep. Oh, nice.
And that's the feel, right? It's a
100%. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, which makes it this kind of, you know, right away. To me, it has that sway.
Yeah, it's polka. Remember we talked about polka with Tom?
Absolutely.
Polka.
Absolutely.
Polka.
Waltz. No, 100%. But you know, like I said, it's a straight up drinking. We were talking about drinking songs. Yeah, you're right. It's a typical bar drinking song.
Yeah, that's what makes you feel like you want to be pounding a beer when it comes on.
Well, that's the thing is now when I picture it now, like as I started to break it down, I was like, you know what? This is that bar scene. It is as traditional a drinking song as it gets. It, you know, like I made a note of this. People forget that a drinking song is going to be a simple song that even when you're drunk, you're going to be able to sing along.
Yeah.
Right. And
Grandpa is a real estate novelist.
Right. And
Never
so
had time for a wife.
Well, the point that I was really going to make was that people don't know this, but our national anthem, the United States national anthem, is a drinking song. It was built entirely on a drinking song, and again, it comes from the same thing. They were thinking about a song that would be easy to remember.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, so I like I said, I started to think about it. I was like, wow, it makes the song all that much more genius when you're like, this guy intended to write a bar drinking song about a bar drinking, like, you know, like, and did it perfectly. Like, really, I don't know that you could do it too much better. Seriously, when you really start to look at it, you're like, holy shit. So that being said, I'll dive into some of the lyric stuff. I guess like I said, the arrangement is all over the place. Somehow it makes total sense though. Like that, it makes no sense and does at the same time. You kind of just like, yeah, this part goes here, right? The harmonica breaks into the la-di-da-da. Again, this part, that's the part that's so much proved it to me and like made it in my head. Like, obviously a drinking song. He just put a section of the song that's just la da 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 da, you know, like, and it's like
that's the easiest thing to sing drunk.
That's the part that made all the drunks put their arms around each other, you know, like that's and they get ready for the chorus, you know, and they've lost their attention by the second half of the verse, you know, so now you grab their attention again with the, oh yeah, I know this part, you know, like. from seriously genius, and it comes from being somebody who played in that situation and how to play to a crowd. How can you get a crowd to interact with? I think that there is a lot of that in this song. That it was not just this. It was so observant. The entire thing is just an amazing observation from a writer. Yeah. And now that I'm done raving about it, let's break it down and see why. So. Many of you probably know all of these lyrics word for word. So I'll fly through some and then just give a quick little thing here. But so first verse, and really the verses are two sections, two stanzas, I guess, is really each verse. But I'm just going to do one and then the second stanza. So it's 9 o'clock on a Saturday. The regular crowd shuffles in. There's an old man sitting next to me, making love to his tonic and gin. So the first verse clearly paints the picture of this dingy bar with the typical, townies and crowd coming in. And then there's the same old drunk sitting as close to the piano as he possibly can get, which I can assure you happens all the freaking time.
You would know.
So close to you that you can smell the gin and tonic on their breath. Like it how many times at the Notch is somebody just standing next to me? They could definitely go somewhere else. I know it's crowded in here, man. I get it, but right here,
yeah.
But so it's just a perfect, right away. And I don't know when I read that if that's because of my experiences, I fill in those gaps, because he doesn't say all that, but he kind of does. I think that anybody, like I said, I think that's enough of a thing that you picture this smoky, crowded bar, wherever it might be. It could be New York City, it could be Chicago, it could be wherever, Yeah. And like I said, he said so little with it, but And I point to note, I love that he reverses gin and tonic. That drink is gin and tonic, but he uses tonic and gin so that it smooths that lyric out. And it's just a really good point to note for writers out there. It could be as simple as let's switch the words the way we normally say them, and it still makes total sense. You know exactly what he's saying. You're not confused by that at all.
Man, I got a song right now that I've been working on for a long time, since before I even came to Texas. Like for probably over a year now, I've been working on this one fucking tune, and I can't fucking get it right. And I try shit like that. Like I'm like, let's put like the target word in a different spot, like on a different line.
Sure.
And shit like that. I still can't get it.
No, and to me, that's the fun. The fun part about songwriting. I mean, there's a million fun parts of songwriting, but personally, what I love about it is the puzzle of it. And even if I'm not considered that great at it, that's why I enjoy doing it. It's like a Rubik's Cube to me. You know what I mean? You've got all of the pieces you want, but how do I get this freaking thing over here?
Yeah, man. Yeah, no matter what I do, how many exercises I do before I try to write anything for this tune, it's like no matter what I do, man, I can't get this shit right. So
I feel you.
You won't see it anytime soon.
Well, we'll see about that. Maybe it'll come to you.
I'm hoping in the next 3 or 4 albums, if I have that many in me.
Well, maybe
that song will finally get finished.
Maybe this breakdown of the rest of the song will inspire you. It'll make you, But so the whole thing to remember throughout the song is that it's very sing-songy, school rhyme kind of rhythm rhyme scheme the whole time, right? We've got basically like an A, B, and like I wrote a lowercase A, B type pattern. Because it's 9 o'clock on a Saturday. The regular crowd shuffles in. Like Saturday and next to me, not really the same.
Isn't
familial.
Isn't it almost the sonnet? The way
absolutely.
This one's written.
Yes.
Is that what?
No, you're spot on. And it's very poetic though. Like we could 100%. And that's it. And again, that's the easiest type of rhyming to remember is that.
Yeah.
Like we know this pattern, and so it's just super easy. Again, another troubadour type thing to me. I mentioned that last week.
Yeah, right.
So he continues on, or I continue on. He says, "Son, can you play me a memory? I'm not really sure how it goes, but it's sad and it's sweet, and I knew it complete when I wore a younger man's clothes.
He makes it to me now. That one, at least the first two lines of it, are like every motherfucking asshole at a gig coming up and saying, "Can you play something we can dance to?"
Yep.
when when all we've been doing is playing dance music, essentially, you know. Like, when are you gonna play? And really, like they have no idea how to communicate the song they may have in their head, which
Right.
is guaranteed. And even if they come up with one, it's always something I would never do in a million years, even if it's good. Like, it's always something that's so far from what I do.
Sure. No,
That's like what I got from that line.
Well, no, again, when I read through all of this, there's part of me that reads it. I try to separate it because as a musician, there is 100%. There are these things that you just relate to a little bit more in this song. But there are also, the song is clearly relatable to people who are not musicians because of how many people just fucking love this song. So it's, like, that's why I try to look at it and remove myself from that musician thing sometimes, just because that was my whole point of analyzing this one, is going, why do people love this song so freaking much?
Yeah.
And to me, I what I said is, for some reason, I know this guy. Like you just said, and I'm just reading off my notes. I said, for some reason, I know this guy, and I think we all know this guy, and maybe this guy is me someday, and maybe this guy is you someday. The guy who's sitting there drinking his drink. Hey, whatever song.
Whatever. I don't know what the name of it is, but
yeah, I saw.
It was really good.
I saw Miles Davis play it back then. Maybe it wasn't Miles. But yeah, and like I said, but if you, it's like, it's an interesting way to say it all, though. It's almost like the wise old character, again, like you said, with Danzig. It's almost like a Shakespearean character. Like here's this wise old man, this drunk, who's like speaking almost in riddles. What a weird way to say when I wore a younger man's clothes. Why not just say when I was younger? He even used the word younger.
Yeah, right.
But it's just a way more interesting way, and I just, again, there's part of it that just I love the whole thing. And like I said, it's like almost like a riddle, and it makes complete sense and doesn't at the same time. And you can hear that drunk old, like you said, that drunk old man coming up and just rambling. And then followed by the first la da 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 part. Yep. So, like I said, here we go. This is the cue. That's the part where everybody who in the bar, the music's been playing, but nobody was really listening just yet. There maybe a couple people heard it turn on, but now they heard the la da da da. Oh, you best believe there's a couple people singing in the bar by now. And then everybody starts putting their arms around each other, getting their beers up, because we're ready to start.
Bro,
so I said,
I love you.
and look, I said the drunk sing along. You don't even need words here at this point, right? And then now we get to this really sing-songy part. Sing us a song. You're the piano man. Sing us a song tonight. Well, we're all in the mood for the melody, and you've got us feeling all right. Right? It's a simple. That's the simple part.
Yeah.
Again, but that's what makes it the hook. It's so simple that if you had never heard this song before, without intentionally meaning to, you could have heard that hook the first time, and the next time it comes up, you've probably got 80% of it known.
Yeah,
you're going to be able to sing along with it.
The first line, especially.
Right. You're not going to forget that, and you're probably not going to forget "Sing Us a Song Tonight."
No.
And then if you remember that, you're gonna at least catch "Feeling All Right." It's a really well written short hook that's perfect. Continues on. Now, John at the bar is a friend of mine. He gets me my drinks for free, and he's quick with a joke or to light up your smoke. But there's some place that he'd rather be. And again, it's like, if you're a gigging musician, we all know these guys. Every bar that we've ever been to, every bar owner that we know, and not to knock any of them. It's just, I don't mean any disrespect, certainly not. It's just we all can relate to this. There's some place that I'd rather be. To me, that's especially knowing that this was particularly in L.A. That's definitely every LA bartender that I've ever met story. Like, seriously, anybody I know that's moved to LA and is like, I'm going to be an actor, ends up being a bartender / actor, or actor / bartender, depending on how they present themselves. So, and it's interesting. We've just gotten more description of the scene. Like I said, he's just walking us around the room now. We knew who we came in. We knew what it was like, what the bar looks like. Then we know the guy that's sitting next to him, the old man, and now, we've got everybody singing along, and then now we start to meet the people in the bar. We've got the bartender. Then continues on with the bartender. Says, "Bill, I believe this is killing me," as the smile ran away from his face. "Well, I'm sure that I can be a movie star if I could just get out of this place." I guess I added a lyric in there, a word in there, because it's easier to read it that way. If I could get out of this place, is all it says. And like I said, it sounds like a story I've heard a million times, right? That's the sounds like an LA bartender's dream to me. Again, mean no offense to anybody. And back into an la-di-da-da part. Here we go. If the listeners were not listening, they're back.
Yeah.
Raise your adult beverage, one more time. Here we go. But interestingly enough, this one, I don't think it goes into a chorus. That's what I'm saying. This arrangement is like, what the hell? He's just got a lot of, and it's interesting to me. I'd like to see what that's about. Is it because now he wants you to start paying attention to more again? Like, is that what it was? Did he throw some of these parts in here to like get you to go, hey,
Yeah.
I'm losing. It's a long song, So now Paul is a real estate novelist who never had time for a wife, and he's talking with Davey, who's still in the Navy and probably will be for life. Again, just meeting more people, getting the story. Apparently, by the way, both John and Paul were real people. I'm sure Davey was also a real person too. Apparently, Paul was a real estate novelist. What he means is that real estate agent by day, and somebody who would sit at the bar all night writing his novel that was going to make him famous while getting drunk every single night for years on end. He and like I said, just going back to it's like he's storyboarding it for us. If you were going to direct this movie and write a storyboard out, he is creating the storyboard for us. Here's this scene. Here's this character is sitting here. And the waitress is practicing politics as the businessmen slowly get stoned. Yes, they're sharing a drink they call loneliness, but it's better than drinking alone. This is what I was referring to before. This is, to me, a outstanding lyric.
Yeah, it's really good.
And I talked about this with my buddy over the weekend. This was the one that he said. He's like, to him, this is just one of those lyrics. Like, how do you beat that? Particularly the end. I mean, the first part, just again, so you know, the waitress is practicing politics. That's a reference to his wife. She was a waitress at the time, and we know that you're supposed to avoid politics and all that at a bar, but it obviously always comes up if you're there long enough. And the businessmen slowly get stoned. That's obvious what that means. And they're all sharing a drink they call loneliness, but it's better than drinking alone. Think about it. You got all these individual characters in there by themselves. They're all so lonely, but it's better than drinking alone. And that's, when you really think about it, that's, it's not like it hasn't always stood out, but when you really look at it like that, you're like, damn, that's a freaking chilling line. Like, it's so real. And that leads you right into a chorus. Sing us a song. You're the piano man. Sing us a song tonight. We're all in the mood for a melody. You got us feeling it all right. We're getting drunker and drunker at this point too. It's halfway through there, more than halfway through the song. You're almost.
It is kind of long, isn't it?
Oh, the song is long. No
it's
question
like,
about it.
how long is it? Do you know? 4 something, 5 something?
I don't know off the top of my head, but let's see. I can.
It's not like American Pie long, right? How long is that tune? That tune is always shorter than I think.
Yeah. It's not like Albuquerque long by Weird Al Yankovic. Actually, Piano Man is 5 minutes and 39 seconds. You know why?
Wow.
It's I mean, it's long to begin with, but then you tag onto it also the intro, and like that's a solid 30-second intro. That's awesome. Which, by the way, that's my favorite part of the song to teach because I skipped over that part talking about it today. But that's the coolest part. That whole intro, like very jazzy blues kind of thing, piano riff. Yep. Super cool. And what's awesome about it is when you teach it to the kids, they're like, I couldn't play that, and you're able to show it, and then it's one of those things that they could light up like balls of joy.
Intro too, he plays like piano bar fucking licks, little jazzy piano bar licks.
Exactly.
He's fucking the piano man.
Exactly.
Piano bar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, the last little section, and then we'll call it a wrap on this one. So we got a chorus, and then it goes, our last verse pretty much. It's a pretty, and I love these too. I mean, talk about stellar descriptions. It's a pretty good crowd for a Saturday, and the manager gives me a smile. And if you can't relate to this as a musician, like,
I just picture Rich just like from behind the bar.
Yep.
Hey, Vinny.
Thumbs up. Yeah, man.
Like when it's the end of the night and the place is still packed and it's 2 a.m. and I'm like, should we do another tune? And he's like, hey, Vinny. Do it, bro. Go for it, bro. Couple more. Couple more.
But like I said, it's
maybe not two, but like
I got
close
you.
to.
But it's so
when it's time.
It's so perfectly descriptive, so it's a pretty good crowd for a Saturday, and the manager gives me a smile because he knows that it's me they've been coming to see, to forget about life for a while, which also it's killer.
Yeah,
that's the deeper meaning. It's such a real image, and then also to think about, that's what how many people, and again, when I say these things, I hope I'm not offending anybody, but when people come to the Great Notch, that's, to come see Vin Mott at the Great Notch is to forget about life for a while, man. Forget what the accounting they do, the whatever it is, to come forget about it. It's just such an observant lyric.
Yeah, and a true entertainer knows that aspect, to the crowd that's there on any given
take them away from the
gig,
bullshit. Take them away, entertain them, let them. They're here for joy,
Yep.
And that being said, the rest of this verse and the piano and the song gets big and boisterous here, right? And the piano, it sounds like a carnival. That's I love it.
And then
the microphone smells like a beer. Come on.
Yep.
And they sit at the bar and put bread in my jar and say, "Man, what are you doing here?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you read it like that, it's like, how many times has somebody said that to me? How many times has somebody put money in your tip cup, Vin, and been saying that to you as they were doing it?
Wish they could, or I wish that that was whatever people tell me in that way, it was true. Yeah, me too. I can only agree with those people.
They're absolutely right.
I don't know what I'm fucking doing here.
But and then it finishes up with the big last chorus, of course, double chorus, I think, if I remember correctly. But yeah, like I said, I know I was in depth with it, but
I like that though.
It's because it sucked me in deeper and deeper. I knew what I was getting into when I started it, but like, it really is.
It's a huge. It's so recognizable for a reason.
Like I said, that was what I wanted to think about. You know what I mean? There's so many parts to that. There's so many reasons you connect to that song on so many levels, and that's all I was trying to demonstrate is that it on a human level, it's a drinking song. You know what I mean? So we connect at that level. Then, as a musician, you and I connect at that level. As somebody who's ever gone to a live music venue or ever been in a smoky bar, there's that level. It's just and then like you said, the sonnet form along with these things make it and I sincerely I'm joking about the la di da part, but I really think there's a real intent there to make that was the another hook besides the hook that's going to suck you back in when you stop paying attention for a second and you don't even need to learn a lyric. You know what I mean? Like it's really quite genius. So and really, you know, I only dove into Piano Man, but if you really look into some of the stuff, you know, songs like "Scenes from an Italian Restaurant," same thing.
Yeah,
Like, and
he's
music,
got so many good ones.
That song accomplishes it musically too. It's not just a lyrical walking through. He takes you through the musical elements of each scene too. In that song, which is killer. So
Dude,
many.
you know what? You know what's a song by Billy Joel? I think a fairly early one in his, you know, in his career. I think Captain Jack. You know that tune?
Oh, are you kidding? That
Can I tell you, man?
I kid
that
you not.
Tune,
that's what started the whole conversation with my buddies this week. I kid you not. That is the reason why we just did Piano Man.
yeah. Like that tune to me, like just because of the associations I have, like mentally with that tune, reminds me actually of the Jersey Shore, and I could, you know. It's just because that song was like on this one time when I was driving down to the Jersey Shore when I was young, like in my friend's mom's car, you know. And forever, I don't know why, but maybe it was the first time I ever realized, like, listen, like Billy Joel's one of those artists that like my mom played for me when I was a baby, pretty much, you know what I mean? And like, but like maybe that was like the first time I ever like really listened to could understand the words, you know. And that song will always have a you know, as much as Bruce of course reminds me of the Jersey Shore. That tune for whatever reason.
Well, no, and we should do that sometime too. Is just to do choose songs that are associated or connected to memories of ours, and just because it's a cool conversation to have. It's one of the strongest. That I don't want to talk out my ass. I know that they say that like sense of smell and connecting that is one of the strongest. But I believe that from what I know that the connection that we have emotionally to songs in specific moments of our lives that are important, where there might have been music playing, we may not even realize why we have like you may not even realize that attachment and why that song is a song you keep going back to. So I'd love to talk about that too. That being said, I'm really enjoying obviously talking about the lyrics and you know, not that we need to decide right now what we want to do, but I don't mind continuing with
I don't mind either staying sort of locked in for a little bit.
Like we said, we don't have any real agenda, so we'll you know we'll fly by night.
I definitely really wanted to talk about Amy Winehouse, and I definitely really wanted to talk about Glenn Danzig.
Yeah, well, like that being said, and I was trying to think about who I wanted to talk about, and Billy Joel is not really, to be honest with you, one of the first people I thought about is I wanted to talk about Ben Folds again, or not again. For me, I obviously I'm drawn to these piano players, but they're also, what blows my mind is that they're piano players that get me to listen to not just their piano playing. Ben Folds is very much the same way in the way that his lyricism is storytelling and picturesque, and I admitted from the start of when you and I first started talking about all this stuff that's very much how my brain works. You know, if you're going to draw me into lyrics, that's the type of lyrics that I personally am drawn to. That's why Bruce is somebody I love, because it's just I love the description. I love, you know. But then that being said, I also was thinking about, you know, I'd love to break down some Kurt Cobain stuff, some Nirvana, because the guy was a freaking genius. And there's some songs, and then there's some Alice in Chains songs, even, you know, that, you know, also, like, I mean, Down in a Hole, you know, why that song pulls on my string, like on my heart.
Right. Yeah.
And that's another one also. There's emotional connection there too, for sure. You know, like definitely the homies.
Absolutely. No, I feel you, man. I can definitely stand to do another week or two or more of this, or
Well, we'll
you
see
know,
how
whatever. Leave it and come back to it at some
Yeah,
point. But
and
definitely, let's just keep.
I
I'm
may
down to just keep on this.
I may see if
So,
I can get a friend in on the next one too. See
Cool.
if I can grab one of my writer friends and see if we can get. Would be interesting to grab another voice on this one. I think
Sure.
we could have some really
Yeah,
cool
sure.
conversations.
Yeah, we'll come up with some ideas. Maybe
Absolutely.
we could even do a different type of format. Whatever.
Yeah.
Just thinking off the cuff.
For sure. You know. All right. Well, I guess before we go, again, our final bullet points that we like to do is first and foremost, the Spotify playlist is the Vin and Phil Show, or just Vin and Phil Show on Spotify, like I said. Check that out. It follows along. We'll have all the songs that we talked about today and in all the other episodes before this. And it should be chronologically set so that you can just scroll down to the bottom and it'll match down to the last episode, which would be this one at the moment. And that you should absolutely check that out. It's a great playlist to just rock to also. Have fun with it. And the next bullet point is that both Vin and I can use all of the support we can get. We enjoy doing these things, but we are working musicians, and at the moment it is not easy. So if you want to help out, that would be appreciated. We both have Venmo.
That's
Vin's Venmo is at Vincent-Mott, M-O-T-T. Mine is at Phil-Silverberg. That's silver like the metal, B-E-R-G. And like I said, if you're feeling gracious, we would appreciate it.
Yeah. Like I always used to say, I end all my gigs with, show us some love. We can use all the love we can get.
It's true. It's true. So thank you for that. And final notes, again, go check out Vin's new EP on Bandcamp, and you can you can check him out on social media. But
Bandcamp, CD Baby, Amazon, iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere you can find music. If you really dig what you're listening to, don't be afraid to find a place where you can download it. The money goes directly to me.
Yep, and we'll be including the links down at the bottom to all of that stuff as well, to our Instagram pages and to Vin's Bandcamp. And I will also include the pre-save link for my new track that's coming out on Friday, the July 24th. It'll be a pre-save link for now, and when it comes out, it'll be the go check it out link. But yeah, so that about sums it up for the Vin and Phil Show. Oh, I mean, I guess we always forget, but we could use a name. I mean, Vin and Phil.
We do need a name.
It's been working, but please, anybody, please.
Needs to be better than that shit.
But all right, everybody. Thank you guys for listening, and have a great one. We'll catch you next time.
All right.